Hello and welcome to Homescreen. I'm Ali MacManus, a senior designer here at 11FS. As always, Homescreen is sponsored by 11FS Pulse, our collection of over 4,000 user journeys from the world of banking and fintech. Head over to pulse.11fs.com for a free trial and see how other banks and fintechs are solving their UX challenges. In today's episode, we are joined by Sam Grant, who heads up the product of one of the more exciting insurtechs in the market, DeadHappy. On today's show, we're going to talk about using provocative tone of voice and design to tackle difficult topics such as death. How are you doing today, Sam?
I'm very well, thank you, Ali.
Excellent. Sam, can you start us off by just giving us a brief overview of what DeadHappy is and does, please?
DeadHappy is a digital-first life insurance provider. We set up to try and disrupt the market. We wanted to create a new product, disrupt the status quo, create something that was ultimately better for the consumer. We're building products and services to meet consumer needs rather than kind of perpetuate industry wants.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely stand out within the market. Something that sets you apart from a lot of the other insurance companies and even the more modern insurtechs there is your tone of voice and language. Can you give us a little bit of an insight in how you landed on the way you speak about your products?
Yeah, sure. As you'll be aware, as you've kind of previously said, most life insurance companies are they're really boring, they're really dull. They have a tendency to overcomplicate things, which we don't think is any good from a consumer's perspective. And we think it's strange that lots of life insurance companies will sell you a policy, without ever actually mentioning the D word, which is just bizarre in itself. We like to use a plain English approach and just really keep things simple and keep them easy for the customers.
You mentioned it is interesting that they often do try and avoid talking about death, and everything's all about that's life and policy and everything. Do you think there's a bit of an anxiety around the word death and talking about death?
Yeah, it's a huge event in everybody's life, and it is an event that is going to happen to all of us at some time or another. And dealing with it is, death is tragic, it's sad, it's devastating, but it's also can be reconciling. It's inevitable. It can be funny, and can be all of those things at once. I mean, death is, as I said, death is inevitable. But it's not something that people find very easy to talk about, and that's ultimately what we want to change.
Yeah, I think definitely the language that you employ in a lot of your product, and especially in your marketing, helps put it a lot more to ease and completely frames it in a different light. One of the adverts we've seen is one that poses it as, are you still alive? Well, there's still time to get some life insurance. Do you think that the humor and design alleviates the anxiety and really drives customers to you to start thinking about that differently?
Yeah, definitely. A bit of humour thrown in can make an uncomfortable topic much more palatable at the end of the day. And that's certainly the approach that we take.
Yeah, of course. Another big part of the product is something called Deathwishes, rather than policies or wills as they'd be traditionally named. Why did you choose to call them Deathwishes?
Yeah, so I should probably start by explaining that death wishes aren't the desire for self-annihilation. They're our way of helping customers express what they want to happen when they die. So, what do you wish to happen in the event of your death? It's also a really nice way of kind of taking it from a need purchase to a want purchase, something that's actually really going to help your friends and family and your loved ones, after you're gone. It's about making sure that people have put plans in place and that they then share those plans with people who need to know.
Yeah. I think it's such a nice way of framing it, and that changing it from a need to a want must really be desirable for people. Something else that I've never seen before in this space is the idea of near-death insurance for things like critical illness and things. How did you tap into the need for that?
Yeah, so the need, as you rightly mentioned, there's already most insurance companies who are dealing with life insurance will offer a critical illness cover. So our near-death insurance is a version of critical illness cover, a simplified version of critical illness. It's not too dissimilar to a product that Royal Life offer. I think they call theirs serious illness insurance. So we cover 4 serious illnesses, and that's cancer, heart disease, strokes, and MS. The qualification for critical illness is usually very complicated. There's a huge number of questions, and we felt that we could do a better job, typical DeadHappy style. So we reduced the number of questions, shortened the application process. The pricing is based on the age you are today, and we've still got that kind of 10-year extendable guarantee. You can apply online and you can get a decision instantly.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds just like a wonderful product that takes an awful lot of the stress out of something that is always going to be incredibly stressful. Yeah. I guess before we start on the journey, I've just got one question for myself, which intrigued me the minute I saw the Deathwishes, was by speaking about it in such a way, you're inviting some really fantastic and weird responses to the Deathwishes. What's the weirdest one that you can tell us about on this call that you've seen?
Oh goodness! Yes, so when I was having a look, actually, we do keep track of all the different Deathwishes that people log with us, and as you say, we've got weird and wonderful. Some are extremely touching. I think the strangest one that I could kind of lay my hands on, and I've changed the names. But I'm going to read it out to you because it made me laugh. So, to Steve, please use £2.50 of this to get the bus to Plymouth Sound to scatter my ashes. Many thanks. P.S. I have only calculated for a single fare. You can pay for your own way home. And those are the kinds of things that we get people saying. But we get all sorts. We get, people wanting to send their mates to go on holiday, send their ashes into space. Yeah. It's incredible. Once you get people to open up and start talking about it, it is really incredible what people will share and what they'll tell.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What we're going to do is we're now going to have a little look at the kind of the way that the design and the tone of voice is used within the app. We're going to have a little look at your question set.
The first stage in the process is selecting a death wish. And this is an area that we call our Death Wish store. So we give people lots of options to try and help them understand what they want. This one is a cash payout. So if I just want some money when I die, you can fill in some very simple, straightforward information, how much you think you might like. You can add any beneficiaries at this point if you wanted to. And then it's a straightforward case of moving on to the next stage of the process. We do ask people then to register with us. And this is mainly so that we can save your death wishes, so you can come back to them later and you can add more. So you'll see here that I've created a test account, run through, added my first name, surname and a password. So it's a very simple, straightforward. We don't ask for too much information up front. And then we're straight into the question set. So we do a summary screen to show you what your death wishes are, and you get the opportunity to add more death wishes at this point should you wish to, and that would take you back to the store, and you could add any number of death wishes that you can. You can have a maximum cover amount of £350,000. Once you hit the Get Insured button, we then take you into the question set. So we start by asking for your date of birth. You have to be over 18 and under 70 to qualify, and we do cover smokers, but we do ask the question because obviously if you smoke that does affect your pricing. And then we just have this very simple explanation that we're going to take you through some underwriting questions. Just check that you're happy with that. And the purpose of our journey is that it's really short. We've got 4 questions. So we obviously have to cover the nasty questions, such as do you have cancer? That's whether or not there's been anything wrong with you in the last couple of years, anything that you've seen a doctor about. Try and keep the language lighthearted to keep people engaged. If you answer yes to this question, which I've done in this just to demonstrate, there's a couple of extra drop downs just to ask you what the condition might be and whether or not there's something wrong that you don't yet know about. But moving on from there, depression, it's worth highlighting here actually that we cover all mental health conditions. We found out very early on in our journey as a life insurance company that a large number of our customer base were declaring mental health conditions, and we think that's because of the age group that we're appealing to, and the fact that mental health as a topic has become much more accessible. People feel much more comfortable talking about it. So we talked to our insurers and we said, look, we're turning people down because they're declaring mental health conditions. We don't think that's right. And so we agreed some principles with the insurer that whereby all mental health conditions will be covered. So that's how we managed with that one, which is, a really good thing for us. So that when you move on from this, the following question is then about any prescriptions that you might have. So whether or not you're on any prescription medication at the moment. I think I answered no to this one. I know I answered yes. So it's very much down to whether or not the prescription is recent. And then again, we'll ask you what the prescription was for if you answer yes to this question. So there's a predefined list of conditions in both cases that you can choose from. And the last question is about your weight, whether or not you're overweight. We don't immediately turn people down for being overweight. We take them through a series of questions about their BMI because we do have some wiggle room. But that's it. That's end of question set. And then we're able to give you an immediate decision, as you'll see. So in this instance, this is me doing a test scenario, but I got a nod. So I have the option now of choosing between the life insurance, which you can see there at the top, or going through, I've already been shown that near death would cost me a couple of additional pounds a month in this instance, and I can choose to answer some additional questions if I wanted to apply for near death at that point. But choosing to continue, you can see now that the how much it's going to cost me a month and what my payout will be. At this point, we felt that people may not realise how little extra they would have to contribute per month to get quite a substantial increase in the overall payout. So we give the option on this page of allowing people to add some additional money to their cover amount if they wish to, but they can bypass this and just go straight on to the next step if not. So this is a summary page. This is all of the information that the FCA kind of say that we need to and that we believe should be shown to the customers to make sure that they are happy that they're purchasing a product that suits their needs. So this is all the information about what the plan with us entails, what we will cover, what we won't cover, how payout works, how claims work, how the lifeline works, all of the information that you need to understand about the plan before you finally commit. So then you're through to payment page. So we take some really high level details from you, reconfirm the first month payment. There's an opportunity to add a promo code. We run promotions quite regularly. You can add your pay by card or direct debit, and then enter your card details. So I've used test dummy data here to get through the checkout system, and then we've got our lovely Death riding a My Little Pony, which is one of my favourite screens. While we process that payment information. Once we process that payment information, then your account is all set up and you're ready to go, and you can view your death wishes. You can take a look around your account area, get all of the information that you need about your plan. We try and keep everything online, but should you wish to, you can also download a copy of your plan documents from this page as well. That's it. So, start to finish, I think you can see there, it was really simple. I think that journey took me a couple of minutes. Obviously, I know what I'm doing, but we like to let people know that it's kind of no more than 5 minutes start to finish, for a straightforward life application.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think, again, we're just seeing the value of dummy data there when it comes to entering card details. Could have got quite personal quite quickly for going on YouTube. But what really stands out for me, once again, is just like the tone of voice there. I think there's one bit was a mysterious lump or an inappropriate bump. Maybe are you losing weight or you're just not feeling great. Like that is a bit of contextual information. Really does make people understand, but at the same time, it's so playful and welcoming and warm. How did you balance the need to like convey some really serious questions, but also give them that really nice, like kind of unintrusive feel?
Yeah, so well, I'm glad you feel that way about those questions, because that's exactly what we were aiming for. So I think sometimes it can be harder to write in plain English because we're so conditioned to kind of using fancy language, and it's something that the industry, not just life insurance but insurance in general, persists. But ultimately, I think I touched on this before, life insurance is way more complicated than it needs to be. Most insurers have a habit of asking loads of questions, most of which, they don't use the information from. We really focused on what's important and keeping the process simple. So coming back to that use of plain English, using simple, playful language, and I hope the customers stay engaged and clearly understand the information that we're asking for and why we're asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, even at the approval stage, you're talking about sort of plain English. You managed to play back the user details areas in such a short but succinct way to do that. It seems very unusual for our policy approval stage in order to be able to play it back like that. Why do you think other companies don't do that?
I don't know. I wish more companies did. And, again, for us, it comes back to focusing on what's important, keeping it simple, and really ensuring that the customers understand what they're agreeing to. And when they take out a plan with us, and pages of, terms and conditions and small print won't help that. It won't help us and it won't help the customers at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course. And just one more on the final policy screen at the end there. You call it a lifeline. What's the thinking behind that? Is that just framing again for the policy?
Yeah, so we've tried to steer away from the kind of the traditional jargon that's associated with life insurance. So we talk about plans rather than policy. We talk about lifeline is our way of talking about term, or what would typically be called term by a life insurance company. So every plan that we sell comes with a 10-year lifetime or a 10-year term, as would be traditionally referred to. And all the lifeline means is just how long we guarantee to insure you for should the worst happen and you get diagnosed with a nasty illness. And every year that we'll give customers the opportunity of what we call refreshing that lifeline, so back to the full 10 years. So it's a rolling term, I guess we would call it, but you've always got 10 years worth of cover with us.
Yeah, I just think the design, not only does it make it seem a lot less daunting and makes it a lot more accessible, I actually think it makes it more understandable as well. You're putting it in terms that people can completely understand, and I think that's such a difference when it comes to, well, I guess what is assumed to be just really boring legal stuff. Yeah,
and it's really brilliant that you think that, because it means that we've succeeded in what we set out to do.
Perfect. I have to give a nod as well to the death riding the pony illustration on processing as well.
I wish I could take credit for that.
If anyone ever says that sort of finance and insurance can't be fun, they've just been proved wrong there. A few questions just to wrap up. Quite a big one. Where is it you're looking to take DeadHappy in the future?
So I think ultimately, I'm not sure whether I mentioned this at the beginning, but DeadHappy was set up with the kind of the vision and purpose of changing attitudes to death, and we really want to push ahead with that. We want DeadHappy to become a place where people can find support, services and tools that make it easier for them to approach death, easier for them to talk about it, to plan it, and to share it, and to really drive home those conversations about what they want to happen when they're no longer here. When nothing matters, what matters, I guess, is what it comes down to.
Perfect. I think you're well on track to achieving that as well. It's such a good product at the moment. If our viewers would like to find out more about DeadHappy, or indeed yourself, Sam, where can they find you?
At DeadHappy.com.
DeadHappy.com. Perfect. Thank you very much for your time today, Sam. It's been fantastic to see you through the journeys. Just before we wrap up today's episodes, we're going to have a quick look at Pulse's Pick of the Week.
This week's Pulse Pick of the Week goes to Anorak's assessment journey. Designed with the user in mind from start to end, those looking for insurance can swiftly run through a number of simple, well-presented and easy to answer questions to help tailor the right cover for them. What stands out here is how approachable Anorak are. They understand that users may not have certain documentation on hand, yet allow users to continue and input rough estimates, making their application as convenient as possible.
Pulse is our collection of over 4,000 user journeys from banks and fintechs from all over the world. So head on over to pulse.11fs.com to request a free demo to see how others are solving their UX challenges.
And thanks for watching today's show. If you want to see more journeys like that, head over to pulse.11fs.com to find out more and to catch up on all our other home screen episodes. Thank you very much.